We talked last week about how Paul was combating a gospel plus movement that was occurring in the Galatian churches. He condemned this in strong language and pointed out that instead we are free to live by faith and in the Spirit. This week we're going to apply the truth of Galatians to our lives. We want to apply these truths this week by considering what it means to live by faith and what it means to live under the influence of the Spirit. Let's read these 4 different verses. The first one is Habakkuk 2:4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Now let's go to Romans chapter 1, verse 17. That's Romans 1, chapter 1, verse 17. For therein is the righteousness of God, revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. The next one is Galatians 3:11. Galatians 3:11. But that no man is justified by the law in the sight of God, it is evident, for the just shall live by faith. And the last one is Hebrews 10:38. That's Hebrews 10:38. And it says, now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. The message in these 4 verses is that the righteous will live by faith. Sometimes we complicate faith, but really it's relying on something or someone that we cannot see. If we read the whole Hebrew 11 chapter, we'd see that the people mentioned there lived by faith. Their faith always required action. Let's turn now to James 2, and we'll read verses 14 through 18. So that's James 2, starting in verse 14, and we're going to read down through 18. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or a sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. The bottom line here is that faith is how we live, and our faith drives us to do stuff. Doing stuff does not lead us to faith or salvation. It's the other way around. Faith and salvation leads us to do stuff. Does that make sense? Paul tries to make the same point in a different way by saying that we should live by the Spirit. Let's now turn and go to Galatians, and we're going to read Galatians 5, verses 16 through 18. That's Galatians 5, verses 16 through 18. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not be fulfilled the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. We don't talk a lot about the Holy Spirit, but living by faith and living in step with the Spirit are really one in the same. All right, I want you to think about right now a basket of fresh fruit. Fresh fruit is always inviting, and a fruit basket with many kinds of fruit is pretty to look at. The Bible also talks about fruit a lot. In Paul's letter to Galatians, he mentions the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let's go back to Galatians. We're in Galatians 5. Let's read verses 22 and 23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. However, let's not confuse the two. The fruit in the basket smells great, looks pretty, and it's very sweet to eat, but it will never last. Someone could eat it today, perhaps tomorrow. If nobody eats it, then it will go rotten in just a few days. Either way, it will not last long. The fruit of the Spirit is much different. The Holy Spirit produces it in us. He does not produce it for us, but in us. We live in the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is in us always. They are not individual fruits that we can pick and choose. Rather, the fruit of the Spirit is one fruit with 9 characteristics. All Christians should be developing these characteristics in their life through faith and obedience. How do you think that the fruit of the Spirit is developed? In this case, it may not be that practice makes perfect. While it's easy to try to love, it's hard to love. While you can practice having self-control, it isn't always as easy as it sounds. Instead, perhaps we need to think about surrender instead of trying to achieve. That was one of the lessons of Galatians. It's not gospel plus, it's faith in what we cannot see. To surrender to Jesus and allow Him to change us may be the best way to see the fruit of the Spirit developing in our lives. You may ask, how do I completely surrender to Jesus? How do I live completely by faith? There is no doubt that there is room for all of us to surrender more and more to Christ. Maybe in your life you are living a gospel plus mentality, trying to be good on your own. Maybe in your life you simply need to put a blindfold on and give things over to God and let Him lead you instead of making your own way. I don't know where all of you all are at, but I want to give you the chance to think about this and pray to God for His guidance. I hope you have a great week and hope you can come back and be with us next week for next week's lesson.